My name is Afif and I recently scored a 740 on the GMAT. A little bit about myself. I graduated from college last year with a degree in physics and computer science, post which I've been working in consulting for about a year. So I thought it would be a good time to take the GMAT and get it done with early. So I use the 4-month accelerated program at TTP, which does have a higher emphasis on verbal. So for verbal, it basically ensures that you read each chapter and do all the practice problems and then go through each chapter test. For Quant, it ensures that you do all the chapter tests and then you basically fill in the holes along the way. I feel like TTP was immensely helpful in my preparation, and it eased a lot of things and really takes away the pain of having to do this on your own. So in terms of the benefits that I derive from TTP, I think they can broadly be categorized into two buckets. The first is the tool itself, and the second is the content. I think when it comes to the tool, it's really helpful. Firstly, because the UI is so good, and that kind of stuff matters because it just makes it easy on the eye, and it really helps when it comes to studying for long hours and when you're doing this over a long period of time. I think the second thing is that it automates a lot of the things that you would have to do if you were studying on your own. So, for instance, it has this auto error log, which tracks all your errors automatically, and like at the end of the day, you can just go and see why you got a particular question wrong, the amount of time it took, and the difficulty level of that question. And it also automatically has different plans based on your strengths and weaknesses. And basically, you don't have to do any of the extra work of having to plan what to study each day, how many sums to do each day. And I feel like over the long run, say 3 to 5 months, it does save you at least 30 to 40 hours. Because if you didn't have something like this automated for you, you would spend at least 30 to 45 minutes a day, tracking your own errors on an Excel or having to plan meticulously what you're going to do each day. So I feel like it takes away a lot of that trouble, and over the long run, that kind of compounds, and you end up saving a lot of time. I think the second thing is that the way the lesson plans are structured is very strategic in the sense that they've like made sure you do reviews at the right specific times, and I feel like they've done a lot of research into how to best study for this exam and how to reinforce what you learned earlier, because often at times over the course of 3 to 5 months, it's possible that you forget stuff that you learned earlier. So I think that just the way those plans are and the fact that they have different plans based on your strengths and weaknesses, different plans based on what kind of score you want to get is pretty helpful and takes away all that trouble. I think secondly, talking about the second category in terms of the content itself, I think firstly it's just so vast. Like at the end of at the end of your studies, when you just get through the exam and you're just entering that mock practice phase, you'll just feel good about yourself when you just think about the amount of content you've gone through and the number of sums that you've done. Because they also track your analytics on the homepage, where you can just see the amount of time you've spent on the tool, the number of sums you've done, your accuracy in those sums, what chapters you perform best in, what chapters you performed worst in. So I feel like that has two benefits. The first is it gives you a confidence boost when you really see how much material you've gone through, and secondly, that kind of analytics also helps in terms of targeting your specific weaknesses and really honing in on those, right? I think secondly, and this helped really when it came to verbal, is that the way the verbal course, at least like the way I found it, was that it used less technical jargon, which I found was the case with a lot of other test prep companies. And I feel like at TTP, they prioritize logic over using overly technical jargon, specifically when it comes to SC. And I feel like it's just easier to remember things when you understand the logic of them rather than, inserting that jargon and then having to remember that kind of stuff. At least for me personally, I found the methods that TTP preaches a lot easier to understand. I think thirdly, when it comes to the content, I think specifically when it comes to test taking strategy and test taking preparation in terms of how you should do questions, I think there's a couple of things that TTP really emphasizes on, which made my studies easier. For example, they keep talking about the streaks method and how you should practice trying to get long streaks of answers correct. I personally use this a lot for RC. So I'd sit and do 20 passages at a go and see how many I could get right in a row. And I feel like it kind of makes learning fun because now it's like a game where you're trying to beat yourself and you're trying to beat your previous score. And also because the GMAT since it rewards like long streaks of correct answers, it's a good way to practice. And it also keeps your learning fun. I just wish that I used it for CR, SC, and Quant as well. So I because like towards my exam day, I just focused on RC because that was something that I kind of neglected. I think secondly, they talk a lot about how you should go through specific processes when it comes to CR, in terms of how you should first identify the conclusion and then see how the premises link to the to that conclusion, and then basically go with the answer choices. So I think like the fact that they reinforce a lot of these techniques, which aren't gimmicks, because I've seen a lot of test prep companies use gimmicks and using things that only work probably 8 out of 10 times, and then they don't work on the hard sums. But I feel like TTP's methods really do work wholly across everything. And the third thing in terms of their strategies that they preach that I really like is having to do untimed practice, because although it may seem very difficult in the beginning, like there were times where I spent 20-25 minutes on one CR question while doing a CR chapter. So I feel like once you get past that phase, you'll see your accuracy shoot up. And TTP really emphasizes on doing untimed practice, especially for RC and CR. So I think things like that really help push my push my accuracy up. I think all in all, I like the tool was really helpful for me. They also have a chat feature where you can text you can text people based on your doubts, and they're like very fast at responding and solving your doubts, and they're also quite wholesome in the sense that they'll keep checking up on you and asking you if you took your test. Like I delayed my tests multiple times, and I'd keep getting emails asking when I was taking the test if I was facing any issues or anything. So I feel like they do really care about where you are in your preparation, and whether you're able to reach your target score. But I feel like at the end of how many ever months you've been studying, if you do go through the TTP program, all in all, you'll feel really confident before you even started taking mocks, because you just know that you've put in the work. Like I think for my attempt, I felt like uh, I just put in so much work that like nerves didn't really become an issue. And I feel like the more, like, because the content is so rigorous, and because it's so vast, and because it has so much depth in each chapter, it does make you feel confident, and I feel like they're just doing it the right way. So yeah, for those reasons, I'd recommend TTP to all my friends. And yeah, thanks TTP.